Tonight, we are not visiting the Rome of triumphs, marble speeches, and roaring crowds. We are stepping into something smaller and softer. A lane after sunset. Stone still holding the warmth of the day. A lamp being lit behind a shutter. Bread cooling on a shelf. A tired family finishing the last part of a meal before the city settles, at least as much as Rome ever can. If you would like, take a slow breath and let your shoulders loosen. In this story, we are not following an emperor, a senator, or a famous general. We are simply passing through an ordinary Roman evening, beginning at dusk and ending just before dawn. We will move quietly through narrow streets, modest apartments, public baths, dim courtyards, and sleeping rooms where the night is never perfectly silent. Much of ancient Rome was crowded, smoky, and uneven, and life depended very much on money, neighborhood, and status. So tonight, we will stay close to the middle and lower edges of daily life, where most of the city truly lived. Not in the grandest villas, and not in complete misery either, but in the practical world of rented rooms, shared spaces, household routines, and small efforts to rest before another day begins. So let the city slow around you. The sunlight is fading. The market noise is thinning. Somewhere, one door closes. Somewhere else, another opens for the evening. And under a darkening sky, ancient Rome begins to prepare for the night. In the last light of day, Rome changes character. During the afternoon, its streets can feel crowded, abrupt, and impatient. Porters move goods on their backs. Donkeys pick through traffic. People bargain, argue, and call across open fronts of workshops. Dust lifts from sandals and wheels, and the smell of baking bread mixes with sweat, damp cloth, lamp oil, smoke, fish sauce, and refuse. It is not one smell but many, held together by heat. But after sunset, some of that pressure begins to loosen. Not all at once. Rome does not fall silent like a country village. It exhales in layers. Market stalls close one by one. Shopkeepers count coins and sweep debris into the street. A baker pulls back from the oven. A metalworker lets the final ringing strikes of the day fade into the evening. The air cools slowly, and for a little while the city feels less like a machine and more like a collection of separate households finding their way back to themselves. If you were standing in one of the narrower streets, perhaps not far from a busier road but no longer in its direct rush, you would notice the sounds becoming more individual. Footsteps are easier to separate. A pair of men passing by speak in low voices. A child is called indoors. Someone empties dirty water into the gutter. The small splash runs past broken bits of straw and vegetable peel. Above, shutters move. Fabric hangs from a line. Someone leans out for a moment, looking down before disappearing back into the room. The stone all around you still carries the memory of the day. In warmer months, that means the walls release stored heat slowly into the evening. In cooler weather, the difference between the last sun and the first hour of night can feel sudden. A person returning home after work wraps a cloak more tightly, not because the night is freezing, but because the body feels the loss of sunlight even before the air becomes truly cold. The street itself is never entirely clean. Rome is too large, too dense, and too alive for that. Mud and wet weather, dust and dry weather, scraps, dung, and runoff all belong to its ordinary texture. Walking after dark is not simply a pleasant stroll. It requires attention. You step carefully. You notice uneven stones. You avoid dark patches where water has gathered. You keep an ear open for carts, voices, or trouble. And yet there is beauty here too, though it is not the polished beauty of temples. It is the beauty of repetition and use. A doorway worn smooth by years of hands. A little shrine in a wall niche with a fading trace of paint. A lamp flame visible through oiled cloth or a partly opened shutter. A cat slipping through shadow. The city is harsh at times, but in the evening it also becomes intimate. Rome at night belongs less to spectacle and more to habit. To the man carrying home a wrapped bundle of food. To the woman checking the lamp and gathering children close. To the worker climbing several floors to a rented room. To the neighbor who pauses outside to exchange one last sentence before sleep. These are small things, but the night is made of small things. As daylight thins away, the sky over the city darkens from dusty gold into a blue that seems, for a short while, to rest on the rooftops. Smoke from cooking fires hangs in the air. Somewhere nearby, a dog barks once, then again. And between the close buildings, one ordinary Roman evening begins to take shape. For many Romans, the evening meal is not a theatrical event. It is practical, uneven, and deeply shaped by cost. The richest households can afford abundance, choice, and display. But for the majority of people, supper is whatever can be managed after the work of the day. That may still be satisfying. It may even be comforting. But it is rarely extravagant. Imagine a modest household on an upper floor of an apartment building, perhaps an insula. The room is not large. Space is shared. Cooking arrangements are limited, and in some cases much food is bought already prepared or partly prepared because fire, time, and equipment all come with risks and difficulty. On the way home, someone may have bought bread, perhaps still warm if the bakery was near. There may be olives, a little cheese, some beans or lentils, figs when available, maybe onions, maybe a bit of salted fish, or a spoonful of a strong sauce to sharpen plain food. Porridge, or pulse in one form or another, has long roots in Roman life. It is simple, filling, and adaptable. Grain boiled with water becomes something steady, something dependable. It does not need to impress anyone. In a tired household, that matters. There is a kind of mercy in food that asks little from the person making it. So the evening meal may come together in stages. Bread is broken by hand. A bowl is set down carefully because there are not many. Water is poured, perhaps mixed with wine, because wine is often diluted. Children eat first or quickly. An adult who worked longer may still be washing hands or arriving late. Conversation rises and falls, not grand or philosophical, but domestic. Was the price too high today? Did the landlord say anything? Did a neighbor borrow something and forget to return it? Is there enough oil left for the lamp? The room smells of grain, oil, herbs if they are lucky, and the faint sourness that clings to old walls and crowded living. A little fish sauce can change the whole smell of the meal. So can garlic, if there is any. To modern ears, fish sauce may sound unexpected, but in Roman cooking it is ordinary enough to appear where flavor needs lifting. Used lightly, it turns blandness into something lively. There is no perfect peace at supper. A neighbor may be eating only a wall away. Someone on the stairs may stumble. Voices drift up from the street. If the room has a small window or opening, evening air moves in with city dust and distant sound. But this meal, simple as it is, marks a boundary. Work has ended, at least for the moment. The body begins to loosen. Hunger settles. The mind lowers its guard. For poorer people, the meal may be painfully plain. For those with a little more stability, it may carry moments of pleasure. A better loaf than usual. Fresh fruit in season. A small amount of leftover meat stretched carefully. Warm lentils on a cool night. These are not the pleasures of abundance. They are the pleasures of relief. And relief matters in a city like Rome. A day can be full of noise, obligation, dust, danger, and fatigue. To sit, even briefly, with food in front of you and familiar people nearby is no small thing. That may be why evening meals often feel larger in memory than in material. They are not grand because of what is eaten. They are grand because, for a little while, no one is still chasing the day. As the bowls empty and hands slow, someone wipes the table or board. Crumbs are gathered. A cup is tilted to catch the last mouthful. The smell of the meal lingers long after the food is gone. And in that lingering smell, a Roman household takes its first step towards sleep. To understand an ordinary Roman night, you have to understand the building itself. Many people in Rome do not live in single-family houses with private courtyards and spacious rooms. They live in apartment blocks, insulae, the layered housing of a dense city. These buildings can vary greatly in quality. Some are sturdier than others. Some are better placed. Some have more reliable access to water, more light, more security, or less crowding. But many share the same basic truth: privacy is limited. Climbing the stairs to an upper room at the end of the day is not only a physical act. It is a return to compromise. The room may be home, but it is also a rented corner of a vertical neighborhood. You hear people below and beside you. You know who coughs at night, who quarrels, who rises before dawn, and who seems always to be moving furniture or dropping things. An upper room may be cheaper, but also more difficult. Water is harder to bring up. Heat can gather under the roof in warm months. In winter, wind may find cracks and edges. Fire is always a concern. So are weak structures. The building holds lives together, but not always gracefully. Inside, furniture is limited because space demands it. A chest might store clothing and small valuables. A stool or two. A simple table if there is room. Bedding that is spread or adjusted rather than displayed. Hooks on walls. A folded cloth. Baskets. Jars. Every object has to justify the space it takes. The walls may be plain, stained, patched, or smoke-darkened. The floor may feel gritty underfoot by evening. If there is any decoration, it is modest. The beautiful painted interiors often associated with Roman domestic life belong more to wealthier homes than to these tighter spaces. Here, beauty is often found in order rather than ornament. A pot placed neatly. A cloak hung to dry. A blanket folded carefully. A lamp set where it can be reached in the dark. Still, people make homes wherever they can. That is one of the oldest human habits. A little household shrine may stand in a corner or on a shelf. A favorite cup may be known to belong to one person. A child may sleep in the same place every night. Even in cramped conditions, routine creates comfort. As evening progresses, the room begins to change function. It is no longer a place of eating alone. It becomes a place of winding down. Shoes are loosened or removed. Work clothes are adjusted. Someone checks what remains for tomorrow. Bread is covered. Water is set aside. A door bar may be checked if there is one. A lamp is trimmed. One person may continue a small task by light, mending cloth perhaps, while another is already leaning into fatigue. Outside the room, the building has a life of its own. Stairs carry footsteps up and down. Doors open and close. Somebody returns late. Somebody else speaks through a wall. The smell from another household's meal lingers in the shared air. If there is a courtyard below, voices may float upward strangely, softened by height but still distinct. This lack of separation shapes Roman sleep. Rest is rarely absolute. It is negotiated. You do not wait for perfect quiet because it may never come. Instead, the body learns to settle inside familiar interruption. The same sounds that would irritate a stranger become part of the texture of home. A known neighbor's footstep can be less disturbing than a silence broken by something unfamiliar. And perhaps that is what makes the room feel safe enough at all. Not comfort in the modern sense, but familiarity. The room is small. The walls are imperfect. The air may be stale. But the chest is yours, or partly yours. The blanket is yours, or shared among yours. The corner where the lamp sits is yours to reach for in the night. In a city as vast and restless as Rome, that is already a kind of shelter.